Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Terrick Guindy with the Mr. Olympia. Today, we're going to discuss the new Olympia qualification system. I want to introduce my co-host. I'm going to start with eight-time Miss Olympia. She's also the ambassador for Wings of Strength, Lenda Murray. How are you, Lenda?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to introduce the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia. He's the voice of bodybuilding. He's the 2000 Mr. USA's Bob Cicarillo. How are you, Bob?
What's up, Terrick? Am I still doing the Olympia? I saw there was some, some things out there. So,
Well,
right.
according to what I know, you're still the MC of the Mr. Olympia, and you've done a tremendous job for the last decade.
Well,
2 decades.
so much for all those polls and things out there, but it'd be great to be back. My 20th year with the microphone in my hand. How about that?
2 decades, Bob. 2 decades.
Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations. I also would like to introduce the Masters Olympia for the Olympia Amateur. He is the host, the center of Primetime Muscle. This man has served in the United States Marine Corps. Tim Wilkins. How are you, Tim?
Hey, guys. It's great to be with you in this rare air. And I'll also be my 6th year leading the team on the Olympia pay-per-view at olympiaproductions.com. And if you're not going to be able to make it out there, it is super important that you tune in to catch all the action. Once again, it'll be me and Phil Heath, Lenda Murray, who not only puts us with her expertise on some of the divisions, but she also is so good at compiling all the bios and backgrounds to make us actually sound like we know what we're talking about. Mark Anthony covering men's physique, Jennifer Dory covering a women's bikini, and we've got Mindy O'Brien. We've got a phenomenal team of experts in their respective divisions, and it's going to be a spectacular show. We know that.
I'm excited.
Very nice. So for you guys to get the Mr. Olympia pay-per-view, I want you to go to www.olympiaproductions.com. You can get the pay-per-view and watch the Super Bowl of bodybuilding where Nick Walker returns, Samson Dauda defends his title, and Hadi Choopan and Derek Lunsford wish to regain their titles. With that being said, let's get down to business. The IFBB Pro League, under the presidency of Jim Mannion and vice presidency of Tyler Mannion, have released the new qualification rules for 2026. So I want to make sure that we reference the official website, guys. For all the official information, you should go to ifbbpro.com. That's where you get the official press release and information for bodybuilding with the IFBB Pro League and the NPC. You want to know the official statements, please refer to that website. I want to go here and first and foremost tell you guys that this is a change, obviously, but we've had the point system before, right? We've had different qualification systems throughout decades of the Mr. Olympia. The Mr. Olympia has been around since 1965. And throughout this entire legacy, we've had changes. And I would have to say that most of them, if not all of them, have been very positive. That's why we have a brand that continues to grow. I want to start by saying, not too long ago, we've had the point system with the bikini category where competitors would win competitions but still acquire points, not automatically qualify for the Mr. Olympia. How do these changes impact everybody that's going to the Mr. Olympia? If you are a professional bodybuilder, Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, Samson Dauda, Hadi Choopan, what this will impact is very positively. You will have a shorter show. That's the bottom line. We're going to have a shorter event. And this seems to be a concern for a lot of people for a long time. I know that Jake Wood, Dan, Jim Mannion, Tyler Mannion, they've been talking about it for years, that, due to the great expansion of bodybuilding, wellness category was implemented, bikini, classic physique, men's physique, all those are positive. the quantity of athletes qualifying 2019 to 150 competitors to approximately 400 competitors. That's approximately an increase of 100% in the number of competitors. So, with that being said, Lenda, there's no rules that are basically changing for women's bodybuilding. If you look at women's bodybuilding, is the same system, but actually it does impact in a positive manner because right now it will be a shorter event for all categories, correct?
Yes, a shorter event. Hey, listen, it's important to me. When I think we refer to the Olympia as the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. Well, when I watch the Super Bowl, it doesn't last for like 6 hours, and I'm not seeing every single NFL player. You know what I mean? The Super Bowl, we're looking at the best of the best. What are there? How many athletes on an NFL team? 53 on that
54.
roster? 54, and we're only looking at what on the field? 11 and 11. I mean,
11.
11. I mean, it's facts, guys. So we want to be compared and be this Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl. It's just the way it is. We want to see the best of the best.
Yeah. Bob, I want to bring you in because you're on the mic. You've seen the changes throughout the decades in the number of competitors. And I like to mention here, a lot of the changes have been positive because we have a huge increase in the amount of competitors in the IFBB Pro League. So this has been a great expansion. But in terms of the Mr. Olympia right now, we're going to have less competitors. Give me your input based on history on these changes.
Well, first and foremost, big props to the Pro League for putting this together finally. And I say that because, like everything, change takes time and you got to kind of see the fruits of your labors. We've expanded greatly, especially since the split some years ago. And we've exponentially made more classes, more divisions, and more athletes. I think you said earlier, Terrick, 2019, we had under 200 athletes. Now we're over 400 athletes. That's a big difference. When you say what changes have I seen, my feet and my lower back have seen the changes over the last year because I do the prejudgings and the finals. So this actually benefits me more than anybody. So thank you, Jim, Tyler, Jake, anybody else who was instrumental in this. But it's a fine line because you want to expand the sport and you want to allow opportunity. But by the same token, like Lenda says, it's hard to be there for that many hours. I mean, you can only and you also don't want to shortchange the athletes. And what we've had to do over the last couple of years is, unfortunately, is cut down on, individual presentation times, things like that, where that's not really what you want to do. You want to give people the stage time, the limelight, their 15 minutes when they get there because they've earned it. And that's the grand stage. I mean, if you're not going to show it off anywhere else, all right, other than in Vegas on the Olympia stage. So we've gone back to the system of points. First of all, there's many different kinds of point systems. You see a lot of people out there already with, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? First question I see is, why aren't all the divisions included? It's like, well, quite frankly, we don't have a problem with 60 or 70 or 80 competitors in all the divisions. So they took the biggest ones, which is going to impact the most, and it's going to cut them roughly in half or a little bit less. Okay, great. So now you got 25 with the points. You've also got some people winning the majors, I'll call them, and some Olympians returning. Then we always lose a few to injury or people pulling out. So you're probably going to end up with somewhere in the neighborhood of, like, let's just say 30 to 35. That's a far cry from 65 to 85. So that's going to help greatly. It's also going to keep the ball rolling and that carrot dangling for people qualifying to still get to the Olympia. And now you can get there via a point system. So congratulations to everybody. And then this is very welcome.
Yeah.
Great. Tim, I would like for you to read. You have the new changes right there with you, right? So
Yes.
It's basically 4 categories that we're implementing changes: bikini, men's physique, classic physique, and wellness. Tim, go ahead if you can read to us and then give your interpretation of what will transpire.
Well, now I'll get into that in just a second because I was going to point out how Bob has the yeoman's work in the morning and prejudge. But I want to point out this is great for the athletes. When you've worked this hard to get to the elite level and you're buried in a 54-person lineup, it's just hard to spend. And it's the perfection at 40, 45, 50 athletes to get that glute to stick out, that rounded shoulder to make you the thing you work so hard on to set you apart when there's 30 other shoulders just like it. But at the elite level, that's what you're dealing with. So this is only going to be good for the fans, the MC, the athletes are going to benefit from this. Everyone is going to benefit from this change. So you're right, though, guys. It is the classic physique, men's physique, bikini and wellness. Top 25 in the point standings qualify for the Olympia, and automatic qualification for the Olympia if you win 2 contests. Olympia. Now, the men's open, if you win the Olympia in any of those 4 categories, first, second, and third place, automatic qualification for the next year. Fourth place gets 12 points, and fifth place gets 10. Now, there are some top-tier shows because of prestige, money, the entire process. Arnold Classic, of course. Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, the Romanian Muscle Fest, and the Dubai Pro. First place gets an automatic qualification. Second is 14 points. Third is 11 points. Fourth is 9, and fifth is 7 points. All other IFBB Pro contests, first is 10 points, second is fourth, third is 3 points, fourth is 2 points, and fifth is 1. And then, of course, you get into men's open bodybuilding, men's 212, women's bodybuilding, fitness figure, women's physique, and fit model. The top 3 from the 2025 Olympia will automatically qualify. And the top 3 in women's bodybuilding from the Rising Phoenix, as you know, Lenda, one of the most prestigious all-women show in the sport, and the winner of each open contest held during the qualification period. And, of course, our friend Nick with the wheelchair bodybuilding, top 3 from the Olympia, winner of each open contest held during the qualification period, and the top 5 in the point standings.
And, Tim, you mentioned a good point. So we're going to call the majors, right? The majors are the events that you win, you're in, as Bob would like to say. And I like the name, the majors. What are the majors? The Arnold Classic, the Romania Muscle Fest, the Dubai Pro, the Pittsburgh Pro, and the New York Pro. So we have 5 majors. Those are the events that if you win, you earn your automatic qualification. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim Wilkins, on those events, you also earn higher points. Is that correct?
That is correct. On those events, again, you are getting 14 points for a second and 11 points for a third, which could automatically put you near the top of that top 25 athletes, which is deserved. And another great point, we've really been asking this of the athletes for the last few years, and the fans love it. If you're third in one show or second in a show, you're going to want to get back out there. If you're first in a non-major event, you're going to want to get back out there. You're going to see your favorite pros more, and you're going to get more of the athletes you love to try to rack up those points and get on the big stage at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I want to go get down to the majors. The Arnold Classic is an iconic event that has been happening 1989, correct, Bob? First Arnold Classic.
Rich Gaspari.
Yeah, Rich Gaspari has won the event. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the greatest icon in bodybuilding. So that's obviously a major event that has to be put in a different category. The Romania Muscle Fest, it has carried every single category in Europe for the last 10 years. Alina Popa has put women's physique, women's bodybuilding. She's put all the categories on that stage for the last 10 years. She's done it before it was cool. Romania Muscle Fest is the most prestigious event in Europe, and I've judged that event twice, and I absolutely love it. It's it's dear in my heart, the Romania Muscle Fest. If you've not done the Romania Muscle Fest as a professional athlete, you are missing. Samson Dauda, the Mr. Olympia, has done it twice. He's won it. I've been able to judge that event is incredible. The New York Pro, Steve Weinberger puts the New York Pro with no amateur shows. So a lot of you guys might not take that in consideration. But what this means is that he makes zero money from the amateur side. All he does is try to sell tickets and get sponsorships, and he has increased his prize money. The New York Pro is a legendary event. Prior to that, it was the Night of Champions. Obviously, the Pittsburgh Pro, it is the home of the IFBB Pro League, is the home of the NPC. Just like the last year, we had an incredible event. That show has been happening for a long time. For some of you that don't know, President Jim Mannion has won this event in 1970. So obviously that's going to be in. And the Dubai show, a lot of people are saying, Terrick, the Dubai show, obviously offers a lot of prize money and it's very commendable, but the Dubai show has been happening for quite a while. And after the separation, Bader Budai was one of the first ones to put show in the Middle East representing the IFBB Pro League. So I think those are perfect choices. I've not been part of this decision making, but I have to commend the IFBB Pro League, Jake and Dan, for picking these amazing events.
You can tell it was really well thought out too, Terrick. When I saw the list as a promoter and I saw the list of names of the shows, for me, I don't know how any promoter in this industry can be upset with the choices that the IFBB Pro League made in those 6 top ranked shows. I mean, if I'm sitting on an airplane with someone and they know nothing about bodybuilding, I'm going to pull out names to impress them. Hey, look, we have a show, Romania, we're in Dubai, New York. They're impressive as far as from a point of just being a publicist and the brand. That's impressive. We're in Dubai, we're in Romania, and looking at shows like Romania, and of course we're going to always say Arnold. Amazing. He's been he's helped put bodybuilding on the map. So I don't know how any promoter in the IFBB Pro League or NPC can be upset about the shows that were chosen.
Well, let me say this. Unfortunately, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs on this. So there's going to be people out there. I see already a little bit of griping and people are pointing out things. Let me put this caveat out there for everybody, okay? This is a starting point. Okay, yes, there will be things along the way that need a little tweaking, or they find out maybe this didn't work the way it was. You can see where that can be expanded. Maybe the amount of majors goes up over the years. Let's all revel in the idea that right now this is going to bring down numbers that are just extraordinary. That it makes it almost impossible to put on a good show. Tim, to your point, yeah, you've got athletes up there that are 4 lines deep on a stage. You've got 80 athletes that will be on stage this year. Because don't forget, this doesn't go into effect till next year. So we've got over 400 athletes that are going to be on this year, and we're going to do our best. And I got to give it up to the judges because they got a hell of a job. Terrick, you've been there 100 times. It's difficult, man. When you're watching number 408 go by, 409 go by, your eyes start getting across, and you've seen about as much muscle as you care to see. So I saw somebody out there that said something to the effect of, well, this isn't going to make a big difference. Just as many people are going to qualify, and the only thing that would help is if you reduce the amount of shows. So let me just answer that to everybody. 1, your math ain't mathing, okay? 2, that is absolutely ridiculous. There could be 400 shows and it wouldn't make any difference because you've got a top 25 point getter. So I don't know if that person just didn't get it or whatever. It's designed so only 25 people with the highest points move on in those 4 divisions. They get added to, again, the winners from the previous Olympia, top 3 and whatever else in the majors. Great. Let me also just make a final point of the trickle down, because people are just looking at this from an actual qualification standpoint, but it has other attributes to it. For instance, a few weeks ago, we were talking about how the Meet the Olympians was very challenging because you had so many athletes there that it was gridlocked and you literally couldn't move through there to see anybody, to get to your favorite people, your superstars. What this is going to do is draw an automatic line in the sand. So who goes to meet the Olympians now from those 4 categories? Well, the top 25 or 30 athletes that are going to qualify. That's going to be down in half. So you're going to lose, probably 120 to 150, depends on the exact amount of athletes that normally would have been there. So this will reduce the amount of size, the footprint that we put out there. You'll be able to get to these people a little bit easier, get your pictures, get your autographs, buy your merchandise, whatever. It also does the same thing for the press conference, also does everything for the Sunday seminar. So this checks a lot of boxes in terms of the positives that it's going to create. And most importantly, like Tim says, on that stage, now you've got a reasonable amount of people for the judges. They can get their look and they can get their time in the sun.
Yeah,
well, and guys,
go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
When you talk about the majors, of course, you start at Arnold Classic. We kick off our season with the biggest name in the sport. And then you go and you talk about Dubai Pro and Romania Pro. And of course, New York and Pittsburgh are like homecoming and prom. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be the in front of Jim Mannion, Steve Weinberger. And these prestigious shows have such a rich history, like Jim winning in 1970. But when these shows have fewer athletes but more money, it's going to draw the other athletes out of their shell to say, all right, I've got a qualification there and a bigger check, and I'm automatically going to win that trip to the Olympia. I'm going to start crafting my year and my prep and my blueprint for timing after these majors, which is really going to enrich those shows as well. So I mean, the trickle down, like Bob is a great word. The trickle down is going to be in every direction from these changes.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a question someone made, Terrick, when they were talking about the athletes are going to have to compete more. Did you see that?
Yeah. Let me
and that kind of to the point of what Tim just said.
Well, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? I mean, we're always advocating for these athletes to get out there and to compete. The beauty now is these days is the prize monies are a lot bigger. You can actually make some good money. A lot of people have contracts with companies that give them a bonus or they even match prize money. So you can make some good coin out there if you're a competing athlete. But you know what? Like you said, Lenda, it's about the best of the best. This ain't third grade T-ball. That everybody gets a chance up there and he gets a swing and we're given participation medals. This is the Olympia. This is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, the best of the best converging for the title of world's greatest in their respective divisions. So you know what? Yeah, you might have to get out there. You might have to protect what's yours because I can see a scenario already where guess what? You're sitting halfway in the points. Let's just make up a point. Let's say you've got 30 points, okay? And now it's July or August. Well, is 30 points enough for you to get you in? Is that enough to stay in the 25 or do you get bumped out? So you're going to have to play some, I'm going to go with a little George Bush here for you, a little strategery. Strategery. And you're going to have to figure out, do I have enough points to hang on my laurels or do I have to get out there and kind of defend it and make sure I have enough points? Because here's the problem. You got to cut off at about, 6 weeks out? So at that point, it's too late. There is nothing you can go into getting any points. However, preps usually start about 12 to 15 weeks out. So you can see that people are going to have to be crafty with, I got to start preps, but I also got to make sure that I've got enough points to get in here.
Yeah. A perfect example, too, is to look at an athlete like Ashley Kaltwasser and what she has done consistently that, when I hear an athlete complain that, she's taking a qualification away. No, listen, if you want to compete at the Olympia, Ashley Kaltwasser and Laura Lee Chapatos and those athletes will be there. So this is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. So when you tell me, when you run from shows like New York and Romania and Dubai, do you really want to be on the Olympia stage? Because when you tell me that, you're not in that league, in that class. I mean, it's just in the story. And people like Ashley Kaltwasser, she's really, when we see her show up as a promoter, I'm so excited. She's doing a major service to the whole industry and she's showing up and she's staying in good shape and she's rocking and rolling. you know. So she's I think an example of that you can, if you plan properly, strategically, you can compete, be healthy. She's was she second in the world last year? And she's been doing this for quite some time. So to me, my message to competitors, this is a collective. The sport's growing. Hey, if you tell me you belong on the Olympia stage, then you're not afraid of the big shows. You know, you're a smart athlete, you're going to plan, and you're not afraid to, I want to see you compete in 2 shows. If you win a bikini and you qualify for the Olympia, you should have no problem with competing again, planning it, taking home a second title. You deserve to be on that Olympia stage.
Yeah.
You know, guys, I've actually heard a rumor out there that Ashley Kaltwasser and Dexter Jackson are actually vampires because neither one of them age, and clearly they're doing something out there that just defies all logic.
Yeah. You know, Ashley Kaltwasser is definitely the best employee of the Mr. Olympia. If it wasn't for her, we would still be in Las Vegas doing the prejudging of the bikini.
Absolutely.
So
just think about that. Absolutely.
She's contributed. No, I want to mention a few names of competitors. Just recently, I do Olympia News. Hayani Fogal, she has won 2 shows. She won a show in the previous weekend, and now she wins another show. Reina Perez, bikini competitor. She's won 2 shows. Ashley Kaltwasser. And we have even open bodybuilder Samson Dauda. Prior to winning the Olympia, he won a show in France. Martin Fitzwater competed in Prague, and then he returned for the Pittsburgh Pro. Derek Lunsford competed at the Arnold Classic, went to Pittsburgh. Nick Walker competed in Pittsburgh and went to New York. And those are big bodybuilders, and they're competing twice a year. If you are a competitor, such as Hayani Fogal, that just won 2 shows as a wellness competitor, Eduarda Bezerra, prior to going to the Olympia last year, she won the Rising Phoenix and then an event in Texas. Lenda, Tim, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. Regardless if you win or lose, if I'm a bikini competitor, a men's physique competitor, I want to do 2 shows on 2 consecutive weekends. And on the calendar, it gives us the opportunity to do that. What say you, Tim Wilkins?
Well, I say that's one way to chip your way up the qualification points. But back to Lenda's point, with not shying away from the majors, you're getting so many points for second and third that you can't be afraid of those anymore. You have to step up and say, hey, top 3 almost guarantees me that, and a second or third at one of the other shows guarantees me a spot on the Olympia stage. Now you really just have to gear yourself towards one of the 5 majors. But these other shows, yeah, I can't understand if you're men's physique, bikini, and maybe fit model, and I want to say maybe figure. If you're conditioned, there is no reason you shouldn't have a 1 to 2 week gap and do at least 2 shows. If you're stage ready, you'll peak again. But if you'll hit a first and a second, you're racking up some great points. You definitely want to get on that stage, and it puts you in a really great position to get on the Olympia stage later.
Yeah. You know, as we evolve through this process, and like I said, there will be some bugs that got to get worked out. There will be some, some changes and things that we have to look at and make, make sure it jives, right? One thing I would like to see, and I brought this up before, is with this new system, we have a very unique sport, we'll call it, that encompasses almost the entire year. Okay, where that used to end after the Olympia, you've got now shows post-Olympia and literally almost all through the winter. Maybe save for I'm not sure I've ever heard of a show in February, but that's about it. Now that's very spread out. What I wouldn't mind seeing is over the next year or 2, that if we could maybe take some of these shows strategically, there it is again, Tim, move them a little bit closer to each other in some instances where you have like a bank of shows, because athletes can get ready week to week to week and hit 2 or 3 shows where they can get these points and establish themselves, where when it's spread out 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, or 8 weeks, you almost have to pick and choose, and you can't get ready for 3 shows, one in March at the Arnold, one in, May or June, wherever that might be, and then one towards the end of the year. It's too much for the athletes. I don't care what division you're in. You can't diet all year. And the worst scenario is even if you did make it to the Olympia at that point, you're probably going to be at your all-time worst because you're so burnt out from doing 10 shows trying to qualify that becomes your worst showing. So just my own 2 cents on that, but maybe that's something we can look at to move some of the shows a little bit closer where you've got 3, 4, 5, or even 6 shows in a row, back to back to back to back. And then some of these athletes can just run the gauntlet.
Bob, I have a question for you. I'm going to put you in a controversial position. I know that seems to be something unusual to you, but
who would thunk it? Go ahead, bro.
So right now we are looking. You're the master of ceremony. You hold on to that mic. You know the time of the show.
Yes, sir.
Looking at 25 competitors per class, how many hours do you predict the Olympia will save in terms of an overall entertainment event? 2 hours, an hour and a half, 3 hours? What's your prediction?
Well, it's significant, especially with the big 3 classes we're talking about. Men's physique, classic, and bikini. All are upwards of 65 or 70 this year, I think. So let's just take those 3 numbers just to give people an idea of the time frame that we're talking about here, and that'll give you the proper math to figure out what we're saving here. So you've got individual presentations at the prejudging. Okay, they're supposed to be 1 minute. Now we've had to cut some of those down for obvious reasons, right? But at 60 people, let's just round it off per class. That's 6, 12. That's 180 minutes. That's 3 hours of just individual presentations. Okay, just that. That doesn't include the call outs. That doesn't include the group call outs to start, and then obviously the comparison call outs. So that alone, if we cut it in half, would save over an hour and a half of just individuals. Now, that said, we've had to cut that down, to 30 seconds. Let me tell you something. Listen, I do my best to try to, showcase the athletes, give them their time. I also have to be cognizant of the time. The problem is sometimes, I mentioned Dexter earlier. Dexter's the slowest person on this earth. It would take Dexter a minute and a half just to walk out to the X.
Yes.
Like literally, I always wanted to bust his balls. Like when he finally got to the X, go time. But and then he would run off the stage. You know what I mean? But some of these athletes, especially the girls, because they're in heels. It's the Olympia. You're going to showcase. By the time they get out to the center to do their thing, I could literally call time on them. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to give them it, but there's only so much you can do sometimes to help these athletes because they go to the back to go to the front. You got Tim. You've seen that 1,000 times. That. By the way, this is a complete tangent. Okay, but I got to say it while it's fresh. Athletes, do not go to the back to come up to the front. I know your coaches teach you this stuff.
Oh my God.
Here's the problem. One, you're eating up time. Half your time is already gone by the time you get to the X. Here's the other problem. They don't light stages for the back of the stage to have any light. So you're standing in the dullest, worst light in the world for some bizarre reason until you get up to the X. So don't do that. Do what the expediters tell you to do. If it's go to the X, it's go to the X, okay? Whatever that thing is. But yeah, just in those individual presentations alone, okay, that's over 3 hours just in that. So we are going to save some hours, and that will give the opportunity to give that full minute or whatever it is to the 25 or 30, whatever it is, athletes to shine on that stage and get their full routines. You should not get shortchanged in the biggest show of the year, and that's going to allow these athletes to do that.
Hey, well, I'm going to stay on Bob's point about the walk real quick before we get there. Also, point 3, the more time you spend on stage, correct me, Terrick, if I'm wrong, the more time you spend on stage, the more time the judges have to pick your physique apart. Get out there, show your best, and get off. But there's 2 people really benefiting from this as well. The athletes who have tried to peak their physiques to the minute. They had their breakfast just right. They had some semblance of a rice cake, gummy bear, juice. I don't know what it is. Whatever magic potion their coach told them to take. And with 50, 60 competitors, That's getting drawn out farther and farther. They've got to try something new. Hydration is an issue. And the magic formula gets harder and harder to hit when their division or the division in front of them or the division 2 in front of them is taking so much longer than expected with comparisons and call-outs. The other thing is the fan, of course. If you're a bodybuilder sitting in an audience waiting for 65 people, that's one more meal you have to have and 2 more trips to the bathroom because you're pulling water to look good at the Olympia Expo.
Well, Tim, let me just follow up on that because that is a great point. Again, we keep talking about that trickle-down effect. That is another form of the trickle-down where you can compress that time down. Because, listen, we don't have a magic formula. I'm going to introduce 65 people. We're going to do that as fast as we can. But let's just say even that takes 45 minutes, okay?
Yes.
Then you've got the group call-outs, and then you've got the actual, the call-outs for comparison, okay? When you've got that many people, you've got to give them all their respect and their time. So it's not like you're judging the top 10 and you're saying, okay, thank you, everybody. You're going to keep going and keep shuffling until you get to all 60. Well, that could take another 35, 40, 45 minutes, especially if it's very tight. So, Tim, great point in that. The trickle down with that will be you can almost time it to the minute now where, again, you got meals, you got to hit the bathroom, you got to get your tan. Listen, nothing's worse than getting pumped up in the back, and then you find out you got another 25 minutes, and your pump is gone. Yeah. So this is going to have a lot of positives to that whole process in the entire show, but we're going to save hours of prejudging.
Hours.
Well, I want to be legitimate here. We are an official live for the Mr. Olympia, and we want to make sure I see only positives to this. But do you think competitors, anybody, see any negative on this? Lenda, if you are a wellness competitor, do you see any negative on this? I personally don't, but I want to bring it up just to be fair here. Do we see any negatives to these changes?
I don't see any negatives at all. So for wellness, they're in that group with bikini, men's physique, and classic physique where they have to win 2 shows, right, to qualify. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really don't. I mean, I come from the old school and I know what bodybuilding, what it was like, and I know how much time we spent. And it's like we're trying to, everything, it's like it's too many athletes. I actually feel for athletes when I'm watching a division and each individual comes out, and then when they all come out, and it's just like, I look and think, how can you really judge them properly? You know what I mean? When we're at the expo and they're just like 4 or 5 rows and everybody's trying to like kind of position themselves. And it's, to me, I think I love the fact that athletes get to qualify for the Olympia, the experience, being flown in, being in Vegas, the whole experience. But I just think at the end of the day, it's better across the board because that just doesn't feel good. Like it doesn't. It's no way that feels good to be on that stage. And then when those first call outs come and then the second call outs, and then you're left there,
Yeah. Guys, here's another trick.
Bob, I want to give some practical examples here. I've judged a lot of shows in Europe. We had a competitor that won the Romania Muscle Fest last year. Her name is Carrie Sexton. Prior to her winning the Romania Muscle Fest, she had placed 2nd place in 2 events, if I'm not mistaken. She would have been to the Olympia because she would have acquired the points from her 2 second placings plus her victory at Romania Muscle Fest. Then we have another bikini competitor who's fantastic, Ivy Eskandar. Every year, she wins about 3 or 4 or 5 events in Europe. She's going to make it to the Olympia. I judged a show in Portugal where Gosha, a Turkish competitor, was able to upset Ivy Eskandar. She won that show. Well, just previously on a show in Spain, she had placed 3rd place. So she had acquired points prior to that. What I'm getting here is there's no negatives. If you're a great competitor, you either winning placing second and third, you're acquiring points. You know, in Brazil, if you do a wellness event and you win, you still have the opportunity to do other events, wellness competitions in Brazil to acquire points. Hayane Fogal is from Brazil. She placed second in Pittsburgh. She placed second in New York. She came back to America and won 2 shows. Of course, she's qualified. If you're good and you want to earn your qualification, there's plenty of opportunities. And like Tim, Bob, and Lenda said, once you are in the Olympia, then you are truly one of the top 30 female bikini competitors in the world. And that
so
is
let me give you the good and the bad and the ugly of this, okay? The good is you're exactly right, because the end of the goal here, the end game, is to get the best athletes on the Olympia stage, okay? And that can be somebody, you go and take 3 runner-ups, but you don't win a show, well, you don't get there, right? But that's somebody who is second place by a point or whatever, right? So that person's going to qualify. The bad, and I'm going to use bad, but it actually gives opportunity. Listen, if you got the wherewithal, the money, and the time frame, you can go out and take a whole bunch of 4th and 5th places and earn yourself enough points, and maybe you actually point your way to the Olympia. And that's just, you know, the left and the right of it. We talked about the trickle down, Tim, and I'm going to continue on with another one that nobody's even really brought up yet that I've seen out there, but I will. The trickle down of not having to send, because right now the Olympia pays for all 450 athletes that are coming. Okay. God bless Jake Wood and his pocketbook, because that's something he insists on doing, but it's gotten crazy right now. Now, for those mathematically challenged, you can add this up. It's about $3,000 for what I call per diem, and that is actual per diem, flight, hotel to bring these athletes to the event. Let's just round it down to 400. All right. 4 times $3,000 is $1.2 million. Okay. That's just in per diem. Now, if you're only bringing 25, or let's just say 30 again with those other athletes there, okay, that's, again, you're saving about half of that. Even if we cut it in half, right? That's from 1.2 to $600,000. Well, guess what, everybody? That's an extra $600,000 that Jake Wood was willing to put up there that can go to something else, i.e., prize money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, can I add something? The promoters, right? Let's look in the mind of the promoters. And, you know, obviously you're promoting the Atlanta show. In the last year, we've had 2 pro bikini shows where we've had 3 competitors each show. 3.
In bikini?
In bikini. We've had, in our calendar year, 2 events where the list came out and we only had 3 competitors on those 2 shows. If you're a promoter, which one is better? You have 15 competitors trying to get points competing at your show, or only 3 competitors, the winner makes it to the Olympia. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm a promoter, I want to have 15, 20 competitors in my show, all of them fighting for an Olympia qualification. Then only 3 competitors competing, one of them makes it to the Olympia. You know, I was just in Romania and we had women's bodybuilding. We had close to 10 female bodybuilders. And I know Alina was very happy with the number of competitors. Lenda, it's better to have more competitors, more pro competitors in your show. And this measure will assist with that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. 15 versus 3. I know I was feeling a certain way when I had only 3 women bodybuilders competing at the Atlanta Pro. You know, that almost makes you feel like, okay, do I need to not have this show? But I'm Miss Olympia 8 times. How can I not? Then I had to put my, feelings to the side. And I understand the importance of still showing up, doing the work, making that show available to athletes. Yeah, without question, I prefer to see the athletes show up. No question about it. And this is one point I want to make. All of us here,
maybe up to you and I, Bob.
You said what? Yeah, all of us here, we participated. We're here for a reason. But I would ask competitors out there, when I see a competitor and all they know is being a competitor. I mean, I did that same thing in the beginning. I didn't realize I ask you to participate outside of just being a competitor. There are many ways you can do it. You guys being MCs, you see a certain side, you know, as an MC, you know what the judges go through, you know what the promoters go through, you understand it's a business. And I feel like with a competitor, if you've had some experience and you've been in this business for you've been a pro for 4 years and you've been consistently competing, then you should understand why the IFBB Pro League, the rules and what we're doing in regards to the qualification, you know, the new system. If you're just constantly, you're here and you're doing nothing else, you don't understand expediting, you don't understand what the judges go through, you don't understand what a promoter goes through, like you're going to have a much longer life in this industry because you'll find your place, you know. And I think that for a competitor to not be happy or not understand, it just kind of tells me, like, I'm going to say your immaturity, your level being a competitor, you know? So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think competitors, most competitors will understand the facet of the game, which is to make the Mr. Olympia shorter, more dynamic, faster, more, and I love the changes. A lot of people say, why are you guys changing again? Well, let me give you an example. The NFL and the World Cup. Every year, the NFL changes its rules. World Cup, the most successful event in the history of the sport, they change it all the time. The country that hosted, the country that won the previous World Cup was automatically qualified. They changed it. Now, even the country that has won has to qualify for the new World Cup. And you know what? If Brazil, Argentina, or anybody complained about it, it would look very bad for them. Okay? So if you're a bikini competitor, you're a men's physique competitor, you're complaining about this, I'm concerned about you.
Yes.
I'm concerned about you because you should be as confident as Ryan Terry, as confident as Laura Lee Chapados. You should be saying, this is great. I'm going to win two Olympia qualifying events. I'm going to be among the best 25, 30 competitors, and I'm going to start attacking the top 5. This should be your mentality. If you're a promoter, you should be saying, you know what? This is fantastic. Now I'm going to have 20 to 25 pro athletes in my show, not only looking to earn their qualification, but also looking for the points to accumulate. I think this is a fantastic change. I commend the IFBB Pro League and the Olympia organization for knocking it out of the park. This has only positives. Agree with me, Tim Wilkins?
I absolutely agree with you, Terrick. And I think when it really dawns on the competitors, you know, everybody knows how hard it is to go from a local show to nationals, to winning nationals, to getting a pro card, and then actually being competitive in a pro show. But the pros need to understand, if they don't already, you might win a pro show, and it might be one like you talked about, Terrick, where it's 3 deep or 14 deep, whatever it is, but it might not be that elite level. And the last thing you want to do is get out there in a 12 call out, 60-person deep show and get buried because that one show that you won really didn't make you competitive on the Olympia elite stage. Now, Lenda, to that point, Terrick, Lenda had 2 or 3 of the pros that won her individual divisions that qualified for the Olympia this year that had already qualified in other shows. So winning her show on the point system definitely would have put them over the top with 2 pro wins. So it's the kind of caliber of people that know when I get there, I'm going to feel comfortable and I'm going to be able to really be competitive at that highest level. As a competitor, that's what I would want. I wouldn't want to get up there and just tied for 16th with 38 other people. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Let's call out the elephant in the room here, because the Olympias have obligations. Okay, we also have a history since 1965. This is a Super Bowl of bodybuilding. This is as far as you can go. You're world champ, Olympia champion. Okay, a lot of comparisons over the last couple of years, in particular with the Arnold, which is a better show. Well, I like the Arnold better. Well, you don't have to be there all day. All this. Listen, I'm going to defend the Olympia, from now until the day I die, because we have the obligation. We don't have the choice of having divisions or not having them. Okay. Now, with all due respect, Arnold, his crew, whatever, they have about half the divisions, and good for them. Listen, it's their obligation, and as a promoter, you can put whatever you want in there. He's under no obligation to have all the division. That's fine. If that's what they like for their show, that's great. We're the Olympia, okay? We have to have them all, and we rightfully do. What do we have, 12 divisions now, I think, with
11 this year,
models,
next
right?
year 12, yes.
Next year, 12 divisions. So we have an obligation to the bodybuilding community, the professionals that are out there in the qualification system and the process to be Olympia champion, that we have to contend with the growth of the sport. Now, just to your point, Terrick, yes, the NFL, the NBA, and any sporting event makes rule changes every year. And that's exactly what we're doing, because make no mistake, love the Arnold people. Okay, it's our biggest qualifying show. But make no mistake, it's a qualifying show for the Olympia. Okay. So I'd like to see that a little bit of prestige can be brought back in. And we haven't, I'm not saying we've lost it in terms of what the Olympia is and what it represents. It's that we have obligations to put 450 people across that stage this year, whatever that magic number is. Okay. So this will allow the promoters, Jake, Dan, the entire crew, all of us that are involved, to put the thinking cap on, be creative, and be able to do some things in the entertainment value of the show, bringing the overall time down where the experience is a little bit more palatable and all those things because of this system. Another trickle down and another testament to why this was a great idea.
Yeah.
Very well put. Bob, let me tell you, yesterday I did a live with Bob, Lenda, Tim.
Yes.
He said, I love Nick Walker. And he was so positive about Nick Walker. I almost had tears in my eyes. And then he's being very diplomatic, talking about the Arnold. I got to tell you, I've always thought you were one of the most handsome men in bodybuilding. When you talk positively, Bob, you're just the most iconic man in bodybuilding. We got to do the most interesting man in bodybuilding on social media. They have all those things. We're going to do it with you, Bob. Keep going. Keep getting positive. You look so handsome when you talk like that.
I'm going to continue to be positive. I'm going to continue. I love Nick Walker. Everybody knows that. And I am here to tell you right now, I'll go on a limb and saying, and I am positive that Nick Walker will be in the top 10 of the Olympia this year.
Oh, God.
That's right. Yep. You heard it here first, everybody.
Well,
wow.
I wanna mention here that if you have any questions, if you go here to the IFBB Pro League site, if you have any questions, and guys, I'd like to mention this. I love the YouTube channels, and but if you want to get the official information, you need to go to the ifbbpro.com website. That's the official website for the rules and regulations of bodybuilding. And if you're a promoter or a competitor, questions regarding the 2026 Olympia qualification system may be directed to Tony Blinn, T Blinn at IFBB. What is that sign again? _proleague.com. So if you have any questions as a competitor or as a promoter, go ahead and email the IFBB Pro League. I'd like to mention here, any former Olympia winner has lifetime eligibility. However, this eligibility is not automatic, where more than 5 years have elapsed since the last Olympia win. Approval of the IFBB Pro League is required. So if you won an Olympia 3 years ago, you want to come back, you're good to go. But 5 years, if you are Samir Banu or
Linda Murray, you cannot come back.
Oh, no, you got the special gift. You can come back.
I have the special one. Okay.
I've seen you in the lunchroom at Wings of Strength. You can come back tomorrow.
All right. I love you, Tim.
Those guns are still blazing. Hey, Terrick, we talk about being the official information source for the Olympia. We're also the official place to see the live stream of the event, of all the action, including Bob doing 80 people for prejudge at olympiaproductions.com. You don't want to miss it. Behind the scenes interviews. It's an absolute blast. You don't want to rely on some country having their guy get a decent enough seat and not shaking like he's had 3 scoops of pre-workout and before we find him in the audience and shut him down. olympiaproductions.com.
We got the Olympia's around the corner, and this year we don't have the top 25 in major titles, in the back pocket yet. That's next year. So right now we got a whole bunch of people that are coming to Olympia weekend, and I know we got just a few minutes left, but we are on the verge of one of the best shows of the year in Italy. That's coming up in what's today? Today's Thursday, right? So Friday, Saturday. Yes. So it's coming up, and what a hell of a lineup that we've got. Because one of these gentlemen has to win this show to qualify. And there's only, what do we got? Florida that doesn't have an open. It has other divisions. And Germany, I believe, does. Let me tell you something. Urs Kalaczynski is making the big move. He's there. Sergio's there. Mark Hector's there. Quint Beastwood is there. Tim Budesheim is there. I mean, this is a huge show. Let me get your input. Terrick, I don't even know if you're judging that show, but you're a judge anyway. But Tim, what do you think, man? You got Quint Beastwood. He's got a couple of runner-ups. Sergio, we haven't seen all year. Or do we put the big money, the Vegas money on Urs to make an earth-shattering win in his debut? What do you think, buddy?
I would love to see Urs do well. It's a huge jump. The fact that he didn't make weight for Classic is a good sign, but is it quality mass year over year? Quint's been over there posing and working out with Samson. He looks insane. Sergio looks the best I've ever seen him. Tim always comes in crazy condition. It's going to be a battle. That top 2 spot is going to be a battle, and these guys want it really bad. So I'm loving the check-in pictures down to the wire.
Well, Tim, it doesn't work like this. The segment is called Losing Followers. We need you to pick somebody, and we need all the people that picked other competitors to go on social media and unfollow you. So who's winning the show in Italy? Get
ready. So considering that Bob and I were both in a movie up there called, let's see, where's my hand? Bigger up there, featuring Sergio Oliva as his father. I really think Sergio has changed enough over the last year and a half to make his way back to the Olympia stage. So I think it'll be Sergio and then Beastwood.
Absolutely. Great job. Tim Wilkins losing Urs Kalaczynski followers. If you are Urs Kalaczynski, a fan, you are millions of you guys, I want you to go to Tim Wilkins' Instagram and unfollow him immediately. He does not believe in your guy, and you need to let him know.
No, I love the Miracle Bear. I think in 1 year he's going to be an absolute beast on the stage, and we will see him back on the Olympia stage in the Open. I love the Miracle Bear.
I don't think you can come back from that one, okay, Tim?
Not now that you've thrown me under the bus. Thanks, Terrick.
That's what I do best. My name is Terrick Guindy. I want to commend the IFBB Pro League and the Olympia organization for making the necessary changes to improve the sport. The Mr. Olympia has been around since 1965. It is the greatest bodybuilding competition in the world. That's where every bodybuilder dreams to be. And in this Mr. Olympia, Nick Walker returns. Derek Lunsford wants to take the title away from Samson Dauda along with Hadi Chupin. And after the posing of Samson Dauda in Romania, many believe that he is set to repeat. I want you to go right now to www.olympiaproductions.com. Get your pay-per-view right now because you'll be telling your children about the 2025 Mr. Olympia. I want to thank my co-host, the legendary 8-time Miss Olympia, Lenda Murray. I want to thank my co-host. He's the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia, the 2000 Mr. USAs, and he is the voice of bodybuilding, Bob Ciccarillo. And I want to thank the main man of Primetime Muscle. He is also the master of ceremony for the Olympia Amateur, and he has served his country as United States Marine Corps, Tim Wilkins. I will see you guys back on the next week.
Ladies and gentlemen.